Good afternoon, I'm your host Brian Buckmeyer here at the Law&Crime Trial Network. We have a live trial for you out of South Carolina, the retrial of Sidney Moore currently. So while they're switching witnesses out, I want to definitely introduce our guests. We're joined here in studio with Mike Koribanics and Gigi Gonzalez via Skype. Good afternoon to you both. First, Mike, it's a retrial, and I want to ask this case before we get into the facts of the case. How do you feel about retrials, and who do you think really has the advantage, if there is one, to be had?
I always think the advantage lies with the prosecution, because obviously if there's a retrial, they couldn't have met their burden in the original trial. So now they see where the holes are in their case and where the problems are, and they shore it up. I always feel defense is best on the first trial, because that's where we're our freshest, that's where we're attacking witnesses, and that's where you can really, if you tell the truth, you don't have to change your story. But if you start finding people for the first time and they're having problems and you can hang a jury, they're going to tighten it up. Not that I'm anti-prosecution by any means, but they're going to tighten it up.
And Gigi Gonzalez, the same question to you. While we're waiting for this witness to start testifying, a retrial, how does that affect a trial from either aspect, either from the prosecutor side or from the defense side?
Well, as a defense attorney, it's an exhausting process. Going to trial, preparing for months, developing a theory, advocating for that theory, spending days in trial only to find that it's a hung jury and you have to retry it. And, the prosecutor, like Mike said, they have an advantage, because since they've got a burden, they can now reanalyze the case and figure out how to fill the holes that were left open in the previous case, and the defense just has to answer to that. So it's a continuous uphill battle for the defense, and the prosecution gets a second bite of the apple.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be interesting to see how this plays out. If you remember in the Sidney Moore case, there is no body, so the question is, how are they going to prove this case? So here we have what I believe they're going to try to do as an expert to be able to identify the truck that might have been seen on this grainy video passing by. Gigi Gonzalez, would come to you first. I mean, he obviously knows a lot about trucks. He obviously knows a lot about cars, but how is he going to be able to distinguish one truck from another based on a video, and how can he give more expertise than what anyone with eyes can give?
Yeah, I'm with you there, and that's the question of the hour. Is this person going to determine whether or not the truck seen in this grainy video actually belongs to the defendant? It's going to be hard, because we're going to have to see if this salesman can tell one Texas Cadillac from another Texas Cadillac. And without any identifying features on this truck, maybe the license plate showing, maybe some sort of decal or sticker, we're not going to be able to tell which one's which either.
Yeah. All right. So don't jump in your Texas Cadillac. Stay right here. We're going to continue more with this case on Law&Crime Trial Network. So it appears there's currently a sidebar. So while they're doing that, we had a few comments here in the studio that I definitely want to discuss here. Mike Koribanics, it kind of got a little interesting for a minute, where he's talking about disabling the GPS, but it seems like there could be dual reasons why that might be. What were you thinking?
Well, I really didn't see the relevance. I don't like these kind of witnesses. I think it makes the prosecution look like they're grabbing at straws. I mean, if you really can't get a witness to say that's the car, then you're really giving a defense, I think, an opportunity to say, like, this is all they have. I mean, you have somebody accused of murder, or in this case, kidnapping, and it sort of takes a seriousness off that witness, and it'd be interesting for me to see how the defense attorney is going to handle this witness. I know how I'd handle him. It's interesting how he's going to.
Let's hear it. Come on, the audience wants to hear. How would you handle this?
Well, I would first of all say, you're talking about a Texas Cadillac. Do you think that's funny? Because this isn't a stand-up routine you're doing here. You're a witness in a case where my client's looking at serious ramifications. And I think you have to bring it back, because I think the prosecutor was trying to use this witness by being folksy with them, and almost like they're having a couple beers together and talking about their pickup. And you got to remind the jury that this witness is not bringing anything here. It's not entertainment time, and you're defending somebody who's looking at a loss of their liberty.
Let's see if that prosecutor takes that advice, whether he can't hear you, and what the testimony has to be said. So Gigi Gonzalez, will come to you, as we just heard that testimony that there's no license plate on the car, and I see the defense attorney getting up to do the cross-examination, but I don't see a lot out of that testimony based on what the prosecution presented. I don't know how this guy can say, I sold the car to him on November 8th of 2013, and now today, on September 12th of 2019, almost 6 years later, I can identify that car. How does this work?
It doesn't work, and the defense is going to take a big bite out of him for it. You know, there's no plate on this truck. There's no identifying feature. The only thing that this truck and the truck that was sold to the defendants have in common is that it's a black F-150. But you know, this particular witness is troublesome because he is apparently all smoke and mirrors. You know, he's here just testifying that he sold the defendant a car, but he's not testifying that he saw the defendant in the car at the boating house. He's not testifying that this truck that was in the video is the same truck that was sold to him, nor can he identify that. You know, this is a salesman, and I think the prosecution is using him to sell the narrative.
Yeah, exactly. And it seems like with most car salespersons, you might not get what you originally asked for. But we're going to come back after this break more, the Sidney Moore case.